Hey, what's going on, guys? It's John back with another video, and today we're going to be going over the Nashville number system, more commonly known as the number system. So first things first, getting right into this video, there's going to be some information that I'm going to assume that you already know, that information being your major scale, and I'm going to assume that you already know basic, major, and minor chords, okay? We're not going to go through anything too extreme today, but those are requirements for you to follow along in this lesson. So let's go on ahead and get started. So the number system is something that I actually learned maybe about 6 or 7 years ago. And for the longest time, it confused the heck out of me. I didn't know exactly how people were able to play in every key. I didn't understand how they were able to just at a moment's notice be able to hear something and just know what to play. And the number system has a lot to do with that. Just understanding the number system and implementing it in everything that you do musically can really help you in playing by ear. I've been able to almost instantly been able to pick out chord progressions just from hearing only a couple of seconds of a song, and that's because I use the number system. I'm able to then transpose those songs without using the transpose key, actually transposing it in real time without really thinking about it too much because I understand the number system. So that is what we're going to be learning today. So we're going to start in C because that's just the easiest way for me to explain it to you right now. So your basic C major scale, we have 7 notes, 8 if you count the octave C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Now, the way that the number system works is that it takes every single one of those pitches and it assigns a chord to it. Now, that chord is going to be diatonic. Diatonic meaning it is a chord that only consists of the notes within that key. Okay. So in this particular case, the only diatonic chord that we can have on this first note of C, that's a basic major or minor chord, is going to be a C major. Okay. We can't have a C minor because D sharp or E flat is not in the key of C. This is in the key of C. So when we go to the next note, D, the diatonic chord of the key of C for D would be a D minor. We can't use D major because there's no F sharp in the key of C, but there is a natural F. Okay, that's how we're moving up in all these chords. So if we continue that line of thought all the way through the keyboard, we get C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor. This chord is actually a B diminished, okay? If you were to play a B minor, F sharp, again, it's not in the key of C. If you were to play a B major, D sharp and F sharp are not in the key of C. However, you do have a D and an F, okay? So when we get to the note B, the only diatonic chord that we can play is going to be this B diminished, okay? And then we get back to C. Doing that in the key of C just that one time, now you have the formula for every single other key, okay? So it's going to be major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, and then you end on major again, okay? Now that we understand what chords we can use with which scale degrees, now you just assign numbers to those. So rather than thinking of, okay, C is major, D is minor, E is minor, we're going to use the numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. If I say play the 1 chord, you're playing a major chord. Okay. Don't worry about it being C because remember, we're going to be transposing this to different keys. So 1 is major, 2 is minor, 3 is minor, 4 is major, 5 is major, 6 is minor, 7 is diminished. Okay. Now let's take it to another key. Let's go around in the circle of fifths. We're going to go to the key of G. Okay. If I told you to play a 2 in the key of G, the first thing that you should do is say, okay, I know that the second scale degree of whatever scale that I'm in is going to be minor. Okay. Then your next question should be after that, what is the second scale degree in the key of G? Well, if we look at the G scale, 1, 2. So if we're in the key of G and I say play a 2, you play an A minor. Okay. If I say play a 5, your first question should be, okay, what chord tone is the 5th scale degree of any key? Well, that's going to be major. Remember, it's major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Number 5 is major. So then your next question after that should be, well, what is the 5th scale degree in the key of G? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. D major. Okay. If I asked you what a 1 was, you would say, okay, 1 is going to be major. We're in the key of G. G is the 1st scale degree, so it's going to be a G. Now, why did I go through all of that? So this is how we actually call out chord progressions. This is how it's commonly written sometimes. I know that in church situations or houses of worship, you know, they're calling out chord numbers rather than the chords, because depending on what singer is up, they may sing in a different key. And for you to have to then transpose and do all these gymnastics in your head to go from the key of A to the key of D to the key of C just to accommodate the singer, you're going to give yourself a headache. It's much better just to memorize the overall number scheme that you can then superimpose on any scale. This only works if you know your scales. So get familiar with your scales. And when I mean get familiar with your scales, I mean get familiar with all 12 of them. So knowing all of your scales is the first step. Once you know all your scales and you've committed them to memory, then you just use that formula. 1 is major, 2 is minor, 3 is minor, 4 is major, 5 is major, 6 is minor, 7 is diminished. Okay. Now, if I were to call out that chord progression in the key of G and say play a 2-5-1, what you would do is play a 2-5-1 in the key of G. Okay. If I told you to take that to the key of D, normally what you would have to do is you would say, okay, I know that I'm playing an A minor, and then here's what I would used to do before I learned the number system. I would say, okay, I'm on A, how many in the key of D? Okay. And then I would count down. Okay, A minor, and then this. A, okay, good, and then 1. D, okay, so then 2-5-1 in the key of D, here we go. Okay, that took way too long. And when you're talking about playing in real time and needing to have this stuff quick, you can't think like that. Okay, so throw away that old way of figuring out, throw away hitting the transpose button, and learn your number system. Okay, if I say play a 3-4-7-1 in the key of D, okay, so I'm going to go to the key of D, 3-4-7-1, 3, 4, 7, 1. Okay, there's that 7-1 right there, diminished to the 1. Now, one trick that I like to use for the 7, because that doesn't really sound too good to me. Okay, I normally like to just assume that it's going to be a 5/7, and most of the time, whenever you see a 7th scale degree, it's going to be a 5/7. What do I mean by 5/7? Okay, it's the same thing as a slash chord. That means you play the 5th scale degree chord in your right hand, and the lower number 5/7, the 7, is going to be in your left hand. So if I'm in the key of D and I play a 5/7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A is going to be in my right hand. 7, 7. Okay, that's a 5/7. So for me, by default, whenever I hear somebody say 7, I'm automatically going to assume they mean 5/7, and this is my 7 chord. Okay, so if I were to then play that a little bit more, how I would actually play it, that 3-4-7-1. Okay, and here's the thing with numbers. The numbers is just giving you a basic outline of what the chord tone of the chord should be. It's telling you it should be a minor, but it's up to you to kind of embellish and put your own twist on it. I can play a regular 3 in the key of D, which is F sharp minor, but you can add, you know, a different flavor to that minor. Okay, it doesn't have to strictly be just vanilla minor chord. Okay, as long as you know it's minor, you can color that minor chord with other tones. Okay, 4, instead of just being a regular G major, I can make it an add 9, or I can make it a major 9. Okay, you can add different things as long as you're keeping the basic, sound of that chord, which in this case would be major, then you're all good to go. Okay. But that's going to be it for this video today. I hope this was helpful to you guys. Start learning your scales, memorizing your scales, so that way you can implement this in every single key. If this was helpful to you guys, go on ahead, like, share, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. You guys have a good one.